Hi guys, welcome to the next video on the chapter Rise of Nationalism in Europe. In the previous video we discussed about the age of revolutions. In this video we'll be discussing about the making of the nation of Germany, Italy and Britain. Now, in the age of revolutions we understood that the nationalism and revolutions went hand in hand. So the desire for a nation state was fueled by the revolutions that were happening, the concepts of democracy, the concept of liberalism. But after 1848 specifically, the revolutions gave away and those ideas for nationalism were being used by conservatives and associating the nationalism with those ideas that the conservatives already had. So the conservatives used nationalist sentiments for promoting state power and achieving domination. So this led whatever revolution had done, the idea that was created among the illiterate people for a nation state, that idea was used by the conservatives and the nationhood was created to ensure domination over an empire could be created. So let's take the case of Germany here. So Germany was formed by various districts, various kingdoms were there ruled by different monarchs. So the revolutionaries wanted a nation state governed by a constitution, but the conservatives used that idea of nationalism and used it to ensure that the kingdom could be enlarged. So you could see that earlier. Here you can see easily that Prussia is here, another kingdom here, another Hanover, Brunswick, Westphalia. So you have Thuringen states, Silesia. So a lot of states are here part of the Germany's kingdoms ruled by different dynasties. So the middle class Germans wanted a nation state, so the nationalist sentiments were widespread. So this was used and the idea with the liberals had, that was suppressed. So liberal ideas were suppressed but nationalist agenda was taken out of it, and this was used by Prussia under the leadership of the chief minister, the most important person for unification of Germany, Otto von Bismarck. So Bismarck had this huge success where he led Germany, Prussia to 3 wars in 7 years against Austria, Denmark and France, and won all 3 and completed the process of the unification of Germany. And then Prussia's king Kaiser William I was proclaimed as the German emperor in 1871. So the primary role was played by Otto von Bismarck, and he was the mastermind behind the unification of Germany, after which the kingdom was unified under one king called the German emperor Kaiser William I. So this was the case of Germany, and to please the middle class and the other illiterate people, small producers, this new state placed great emphasis on currency, banking, legal and judicial systems. So to suppress revolutions and to create an idea where the nation state under monarch could also succeed, these steps were taken by the new state. Now let's look at the case of Italy here. So Italy was also made of several different kingdoms. So we had this Sardinia Piedmont. It was a princely house. Then in the north we had this Austrian Habsburgs. Then Pope was there in the center. Then Spanish Bourbon kings were there in the south. So you could see a lot of territories were there under the Parma, Lombardy, Monaco, Tuscany. So there were a papal state of Vatican were there. So Italy was combined of various dynastic kingdoms ruled by different monarchs. Then Mazzini had thought of creating a revolution in 1830s. We discussed that in the previous videos, but he failed. And the idea of unification that was given by Mazzini, it was used by Sardinia Piedmont, and they used an approach where they used diplomatic alliance. So diplomatic alliance with France was used. They defeated the Austrian forces. Then Another person responsible hugely for the unification of Italy was Giuseppe Garibaldi. So Garibaldi played a huge role in unification of Italy, and he joined hands with the local peasants. So he used local peasants to drive out the Spanish Bourbon kings. So the Spanish were driven out, the Austrians were defeated, and together they created a united Italy under the kingdom of Victor Emmanuel II, who was originally the king of Sardinia Piedmont. So Sardinia Piedmont unified Italy, and the idea was generated by Mazzini, but the implementation was done by the Sardinia Piedmont. So, and Giuseppe Garibaldi. So Giuseppe Garibaldi played a huge role. He was originally a revolutionary, by the way, and he had very liberal ideas. But the liberal ideas that he had, the rest of the Italy had no idea. So they were still unaware of the liberal nationalist ideology, but they were following him for the success of the economic success that they could get from the unified Italy, the political success that they could get, and this unified Italy. But still, the liberal ideas that were there, they were ignored. So this is the case of Italy. Now let's look at the case of Britain. So Britain also, before the 17th century, it was also in disarray. It was in 4 kingdoms. So slowly Britain was formed using not a revolution, though there was no revolution in Britain, but through various alliances, diplomatic strategies, this kingdom was unified. So you will see that there were 4 political traditional kingdoms of English, Welsh, Scot and Irish. So there were 4 traditions here, 4 cultures with unique ethnic identities. So this was there. Then what happened was that English started gaining wealth through the various colonies that they had. So they started gaining importance and power over their neighbors. So the first state to come under England was this Scotland. So Scotland and England unified when in 1707, when the ruler of England used a diplomatic alliance to form the United Kingdom of Great Britain. So initially the United Kingdom of Great Britain had England and Scotland. So here under the British Parliament. So here Scottish were ignored, the domination of Scottish were complete, there was suppression of Scottish sentiments, Scottish culture, political institutions. So anything related to Scottish nationalism, that was suppressed. So you could see that the Catholic clans of Scottish, they were repressed. Then anything they wanted to show their independence, they were suppressed. So they were forbidden to speak Gaelic language of Scotland, and the national dress of Scotland also was ignored. So these were some of the things that were done to ensure that Scotland submits to the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Then once Scotland was part of the United Kingdom, then English also extended this suppression over the neighbors of Ireland. So Ireland also suffered a similar fate. It was divided between Catholics and Protestants originally. So what English did in this was, they helped the Protestants to establish domination over the Catholics. So by using the religious diversity among them against each other, the English used and incorporated into the United Kingdom by helping the Protestants win over the Catholics. And once the revolt was suppressed by the British in 1798, Ireland also became part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Now, Great Britain and Ireland. So this new Britain nation was formed through propagation of English culture. They ensured that the English culture prevails over there. So you will see that New Britain were actively promoting the British flag and not promoting the Scottish or the Irish flags. Then the national anthem was also one which was for the English. Then English language was used over the Scottish language or the Irish languages. Then all the other cultures were made subordinate. So this was what has happened. This was a slow drawn on process over 120 years, but over this 120 years without a revolution, English actually subordinated the nearby neighbor states of Scotland and Ireland and made them part of the United Kingdom. So this is about the three nations of Britain, Italy and Germany. In the next video, we'll be discussing the what constitutes a nation, how nationalism was created there. Thank you so much.